Welcome to Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz, a candid conversation as we learn about dementia, Alzheimer's, and its effects on the people we love. Jill's years of dedication and experience help you adapt, recover, overcome obstacles, and help find a positive outcome. It's time for Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world. I am always excited to present a show on strategies because I know that my caregiver nation out there needs some extra help, and my folks with diagnosis always like it when their loved ones have some way to think about, trying to have the people that care for them take good care of them. So today's strategy show is going to be about calming difficult behaviors. I know that's always something that people are asking. How can I do that? What do I do when my loved one is really upset? So last Thursday, I presented a lecture, and I bet you of all the people in the room, at least half of them said, if I would have known that a long time ago, this would have been really awesome. So what do we do with these difficult behaviors? You're not going to believe it when I tell you, but today is going to be an eye-opening day, and I'm going to give you a trick that is going to work, a strategy that is going to work, and you're not even going to believe how easy it is. So if I repeat myself a little bit today, it's so that you can get a paper and pen and write some stuff down. But let's start with, how do we calm somebody that is talking in what we call word salad, having repetitive questions? They're not making sense. They seem agitated. So one thing I want you to do right off the top, don't try to explain or reason with that person about what is upsetting them. Try really hard to just say what they say and repeat what they say. So one of the things that we're going to try to do is we're going to figure out which hand is that person's dominant hand. So is it their left hand or their right hand? Go to that side and put your palm up with your palm facing straight up and your thumb kind of sticking out. And then grab that person's hand by their thumb. So you're taking a hand under hand approach. Okay. And if you can lock your thumb with their thumb with your palm up and their fingers over your wrist, essentially, then you can put your other hand on top of their hand. When you do that, that guides you to a place where you can, if you need to pick up something like a brush or a toothbrush or something like that and help them to maneuver that toothbrush, you can just pick it up with your fingers and put it right in their hand and then guide their hand up so they can start doing it and then just slide it into their hand. I know that might sound a little bit confusing, but it really, really works. So I'm going to say that one more time. You put your hand palm up and then put their thumb interlocked with yours with their fingers over your wrist. And then you can actually go to pick up whatever that object is they're having trouble with. If it's a toothbrush, if it's a toothpaste, if it's a fork or something like that, that could be a really tough thing for them to do. So if you can get them to guide their hand to pick up that object and then right to their head, their mouth, whatever it is they need. Okay? Hopefully that will make a little bit of sense, and that can help you to get them calmed down. Now, one of the things that would also help is if that person is saying something like, I can't find my comb. You just say, so you can't find your comb? You repeat it after them. Don't try to reason with them by saying something like, what are you looking for? What do you need? What can I help you with? That's trying to use judgment and reasoning with a person who cannot use that. So what we want to do is we want to try to just repeat what they say, mimic or mirror what they say. So having just like a mirroring process with them really, really works. So for example, you'd say, if they say, I'm going over. So you just say, oh, you're going over there? Are you going over there? Yes, you're going over there. We tried this technique at Bellevue Heights the other night, And a person that has frontal temporal who is often really, really upset came up and was standing by me, and he wanted to talk to his wife. And he was saying, where is she? Where is she? Where is she? And I said, where is she? And he said, yes. And I said, where's your wife? Yes. I said, well, she's right there. She's right there. She's right there. He calmed right down. It was like watching somebody's tension go from a 1 to a 10 and right back down to a 1 again. And it really, really helped to get him calmed down. So that was just a really good way to work on, mirroring what someone says and then holding their hand with their palm up, thumbs locked with their fingers over your wrist. Really, really try that and just repeat what a person is saying. Do not try to reason with them. Don't try to ask them for more information because they probably can't do that. That may seem like one of the simplest things you've ever heard, and my goodness, that seems absolutely ridiculous. But I promise you, if you try that when a person is upset and you are trying really hard to understand what they want, that will help you enormously, okay? So I always love these strategy shows. I think it helps an enormous amount when we find ways to work with agitation, when people are upset, when we can't seem to calm them. Oftentimes, the tell me more theory will work. So if you are trying all those things and you're working with repeating what they say back, and that isn't necessarily working, try to get them to tell you more. As an example, they're looking for somebody who's passed away, and they seem upset. So now we've got a different type of agitation going on. What if we said to them, so you miss your husband? What would you say to him if he were here? If somebody is saying, where's my husband? Where's my wife? I can't find them. I need them. Is he at work? Where is he? We hear this a lot in Caregiver Nation. I know you do. So instead of saying he's passed away or he's not here, he's at work, he's not coming back, just say something like, tell me more about him. When was the last time you saw him? Did you like the way he gave you hugs? Was he a person that gave you sweet kisses? How long were you married? Tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. These theories will help you enormously when somebody is seriously agitated. If it's something else and you just really can't calm them down, 2 things you could try. Just walk out of the room for 5 minutes if they're safe. Let them calm their own spirits, get themselves calmed down, and then come back. Chances are they won't even remember that you were in the room talking to them and they were upset. Also look for things like urinary tract infections. Look for ears that are clogged up. Maybe they've got their dentures aren't fitting right. They've got a headache. Do they have a pain point? So just assess them over their body. Does something hurt? You can do that just by reaching for an arm and see if they reach out or wince in any way. Agitation is caused by a lot of different things. So we'll try to get to all of those today as much as we possibly can. It's kind of fun today. I have my grandchildren in the studio with me today. And my little guy just celebrated his first birthday, and he's got a little bit of a cough. So it's going to be an interesting day here in the studio, but it's really fun sharing what I do with my young grandkids. And I look forward to helping with more of your agitation and delusions and difficult behaviors today. So when we come back from our break, we're going to talk about delusions. What are they? What causes them? And how can we work with them when we don't understand what's going on? We'll be right back. Hey friends, I'm excited to tell you about Pine Grove Crossing Assisted Living and Memory Care in Parker, Colorado. They set the bar high for person-centered care. They're locally owned, and they focus on exceeding their residents' expectations while providing excellent dining, housekeeping, and transportation services. Their care team with licensed nurses are available 16 hours per day, 7 days a week to ensure clinical needs are addressed as soon as possible. Check them out at pinegrovecrossing.com or 303-996-8000 and see how care goes into everything they do.
It's time for Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz.
Okay, so today's our strategy day, and I always like trying to offer some good techniques for you if you're struggling with something going on. And today I want to talk about, in this segment, distressing beliefs. People with Alzheimer's and Lewy body and even Parkinson's disease and various dementias will see things, hear things that are not there. And why do they have these hallucinations and delusions? They might feel something that's not real. They might smell something that's not real, or hear something that's not real. Sounds. Somebody's talking to them. Somebody's sitting in the room with them. They can see a person walking through the living room or something like that. And trying to persuade them that that person's not there is not going to work. You're going to have more problems and more behaviors and reactions to what you're trying to do to relieve it. So let's not do that, okay? Often the person really thinks that hallucination or delusion is real. So go with that. Try to make it as non-scary as possible. So there's kids running through the house. I'll ask them to be quiet. Because those delusions and hallucinations can be very disruptive to that person. Maybe they're just a little freaked out because they didn't know kids were running through the house when they're not really there. So just comment on that. Say, does that bother you when they're running through the house? We'll have to go and ask them to sit down and play quietly with some toys. Do that. I am a firm believer in using what we call therapeutic fibs for people, because if you say there's no children running through here, that person's just going to get angry. They're going to think that they're crazy. A lot of different things can go through their mind in terms of emotional turmoil. And so try to work with that as best you can. Here's some of the triggers that can cause that. Dark rooms, shadows on the wall, an unwelcoming environment that has uneven lighting where there's a little bit of light over here and there's a little bit of darkness over here. The curtains blowing if you have them open, the windows open, and that can be scary to somebody. So maybe somebody doesn't realize where they are. Maybe just for a second they've forgotten what room of the house they're in or what place they are in. If you've disrupted familiar routines, like maybe you've always taken a walk at 10 a.m. and today it's rainy or snowy or whatever it is, and you can't go for a walk, and that person gets all freaked out. They get a little unsettled because they don't have some other stimulation to replace what is missing in that routine. So you might have to work a puzzle. You might have to clean the house a little bit, make some breakfast, have a cup of hot tea. Try things like that to replace what's missing in that routine. Other common triggers could be side effects of medications or unfamiliar people. Maybe you brought a friend or somebody over to the house or a relative who hasn't been there for a long, long time. And all of a sudden they see a brother or a son or a grandchild or something that they haven't seen in a year or two, and they start calling them by the wrong name. Those kinds of things happen all the time. They may not necessarily be delusions, but just going back in time in their mind to many, many years ago, and might think that that grandchild is their brother or something like that. So we know that people do go back in time a lot, and that becomes a real problem for them. Okay, so try to keep the noise and activities down and things like that when somebody's having a lot of problems, okay? Now, what kind of strategies can you use? Ignore those hallucinations and delusions if they're not a problem. If they're not bothering the person, it's just something that they're talking about, like, oh, I just saw my husband a few minutes ago, or I just talked to him on the phone. Really? What did you talk about when you were when you were talking. That's really cool. Must have been great to chat with him for a while, huh? Just go with that person. Don't argue with them about what they saw or what they didn't see, because that's not going to help. It's just going to make them a little bit more upset. They probably will look at the television. That's another issue. They'll see something on the television like a Cowboys and Indians show, and all of a sudden think that cowboys and Indians are shooting arrows at them and things like that, or there's horses riding in the house. And so if you see things like that, just turn off the television set, especially if it's violent or a lot of political things. People get very charged up, and there's a lot of tension when they're watching shows that are talking about politics these days. I don't think anybody's agreeing on anything right now. And that will filter to that person. They will feed off of that energy. And that can create an illusion or hallucination that everybody's fighting around them and that they've got to box people or they've got to take up this fight. So you don't want to do that if you don't have to, okay? Really try to work on those kinds of things. Somebody asked me the other day, my husband keeps trying to pick things up off the floor, and I can't figure out what he's doing. And I said, well, does he think he's working? Ask him what he's looking for. Is he looking for a tool? Is he looking for a screwdriver? What is he looking for? And so as he came into the room, this was at the lecture that I had the other night at Bellevue Heights, he went over and he started trying to pick things up off the floor. And I said, oh, I think it's over here. And we just put a piece of paper down on the floor, and he went to pick it up and he was satisfied. So sometimes people will see variations in the carpet. Or floors will have a different pattern, and they go to touch it to see if it's real or if it's something that is sitting on the floor, like a screw or a pencil or something like that. Don't think too hard about things like that. If they're looking for something and it seems like they're just grasping at things, put something on the floor so they can grab it. It's a pretty easy fix. I know these kinds of things sound simplified, but I don't really mean for it to look that way. Hey, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Living and working with Alzheimer's and other dementias can often be challenging. Summit Resilience Training provides education utilizing non-medical approaches for those who work with our friends affected by dementia. Believing families still need one-on-one assistance, we provide classes which help them understand the diseases affecting their loved ones, offering strategies and techniques for success with activities of daily living and working with confusing behaviors. We offer in-home assessments. Education programs instilling person-centered care philosophies are offered for professional caregivers working in communities and homes, which can be customized for their staff. Training is also available for first responders. We are passionate that people with dementias such as Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and others are approached with compassion and understanding, and those who work with them have all the tools they need for success. Call us at Summit Resilience Training, 303-420-6988 to schedule a class or in-home assessment. Visit our website at summitresiliencetraining.com for more information.
Welcome to Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz, a candid conversation as we learn about dementia, Alzheimer's, and its effects on the people we love. Jill's years of dedication and experience help you adapt, recover, overcome obstacles, and help find a positive outcome. It's time for Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz.
Okay, so we've been talking about calming challenging behaviors today. And getting back to the delusions and things like that, if these are becoming disruptive to your person with diagnosis, you might want to call your doctor and see if there's some change in medication that could be causing the hallucinations. Sometimes that can happen. There can be underlying medical causes, like I said in the first part, where they could have a urinary tract infection. They could have hearing problems, an ear infection, different things like that. So if all things seem like systems are a go and the person is just having some difficulty with the environment, try moving to another room if that room is disruptive to that person. Maybe go into the kitchen. Go into a calmer area, a bedroom. Ask them to lay down for a little bit. Just try to distract them with another topic. Change the topic. Start talking about the weather. Start talking about current events. Start going through photo albums and looking at pictures, things like that, to just try to redirect them to a place that's calmer for them. And that will be a lot more fun for them, okay? So now, I want to give you a worksheet, an idea about a worksheet that you can use so that if you are really struggling with it and you can't seem to find a way to get that person calmer, if you can't understand what's going on, I want you to try this, and if all else fails, I want you to call me at 303-420-6988, and I will help you walk through maybe what that challenging behavior is, okay? But this is what I want you to do. On a piece of paper, and I'm going to repeat this twice, I want you to make yourself a little grid and write the date, describe what the behavior is. My husband started yelling and pounding on the table. What time of day did it occur? That will be the next thing that you'll write down. List the time of day that this behavior occurs. Then the next column will be what happens before the behavior occurred. So did something change? Did the phone ring? Did a commercial come on that scared the person? Did the wind start blowing and all of a sudden it started making the curtains blow and knock something over? Was a dog barking? What happened before that behavior occurred? Did you try to rush the person through the activity that you were doing? Did you need to get somewhere and didn't plan quite enough time and you saw that that's what upset them, so they couldn't get in a good zone and calm enough for you to try to get them to where they were going? So what happened before the behavior occurred? And then finally, the last column is what happened after the behavior occurred? Did they calm down? Did it get worse? Did it escalate? Were they yelling more? Did they start crying? Or did they calm down? Was something that you did effective? Did you talk to them in a calming voice? Did you maybe put on some soothing music? Did you close the window so the wind wasn't blowing through so much? If we can work through these worksheets and try to identify the underlying causes of the behavior, I think you'll be more successful at trying to modify or change that behavior so that you don't have it happen again. Okay? So I'm going to say that one more time. Make a sheet. You can take a piece of paper, and if it's an 8.5 by 11, turn it sideways. The first column will be the date. When did it happen? The second column will be describe the behavior. What happened? What went on with the behavior? How was the person reacting? Were they crying? Were they screaming? Were they laughing? Were they upset? What happened? The third column lists the times of day that the behavior occurs. The fourth column will be what happened before the behavior occurred. The fifth column will be what happened after the behavior occurred. Why this is important is because if you have this worksheet and you can use this worksheet to help you figure out what happened and what was going on, then you can have such a better time trying to work through this behavior, modify it, and have everybody happy and calm. Remember, people, the biggest things you can do is using a calm voice, use as many quieting techniques as you possibly can. Have a few engagement pieces around your house so that you can look for something that you can grab. Could it be a magazine? Could it be a puzzle? Could it be just something soft, a ball that they can play with, a skein of yarn, something like that, to calm that person? If all else fails, put on some music, take them to a different room of the house, get them a cup of hot tea or coffee, a cold drink, whatever it is. Take them for a walk outside. Calming behaviors is not always the easiest thing to do, but if we can, we need to try, because the stress level for our caregiver nation when they're working with somebody who's upset goes up and up and up. And we know that people that are caring for their loved ones who have some type of cognitive impairment or severe memory loss, It is disruptive. It is hard to deal with. It creates enormous amount of stress on you physically and mentally and emotionally. So let's do what we can to try to calm those behaviors. I hope this session today has been helpful to you. Again, if you have any questions, go to my website, summitresiliencetraining.com, or call me, 303-420-6988. And you can always come back and revisit these podcasts by going to Cruisin' 1430 AM. You can find it online at Denver, Cruisin' 1430. Go to the weekend programming and scroll down, and on Sundays you'll see Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz. And you can listen to these over and over so that you can listen to them more slowly. You can stop them and pause them as you want, so you can write down the information I gave you earlier today. Okay? So don't be overwhelmed. Just think, oh my gosh, I didn't get all that written down. How can I get it back again? So again, Cruisin' 1430. If you are going online on www, you can also put in Denver, Cruisin' 1430 AM, just so you can make sure you get to it, okay? Also, I load my podcasts on several different entities, iTunes, Apple, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play, and TuneIn. Please go on those apps, and if you like my shows, please scroll down and give me a 5-star rating. I just went on the other day and realized I have worldwide listeners. I have 600 subscribers right now, just in 2 months of launching those on those apps, and I love that. So those of you who are listening in the UK, in Canada, in Algeria, Denmark, Sweden, all around the world, love, love, love it. I hope that you find something interesting on this show. Now, next week, I'm going to try to have another strategy show, and I would love to see what you email me or tell me that you need me to talk about. And then in 2 weeks, I'm going to have Dr. Samantha Holden on, and we're going to have a great conversation about it's next week. Next week, I'm going to have Samantha Holden on, and we're going to talk about Lewy body. And she has some new innovative approaches for this really disruptive type of cognitive impairment dementia. Lewy body is a real tough one. So again, Caregiver Nation and people with diagnosis out there, I love you. I hope you have a good week. Go on and listen to me, and again on the Cruisin' 1430, and we will see you next week on Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz.
You've been listening to Dementia Resilience with Jill Lorenz. Visit her website at summitresiliencetraining.com to learn more, and join us next week as we learn more about dementia, Alzheimer's, and overcoming obstacles with a positive outcome. See you next time.